What's up, tribe? What's up? What's up? We are back for season 2 of The Wire. Season 2 is probably my least favorite season, but I'm excited and looking forward to looking at it with fresh eyes, looking at it with a different perspective. So this is the first episode. So basically, a lot of it is establishing what the storyline is going to be and getting us caught up on what happened, where everybody ended up after last season. So we start off, we know McNulty got assigned down to the boats. That's what we left off with him on the boat. And we see that, he is not happy. He is out on the water. It is the middle of winter. It's already cold. Then you on the water. It's even colder. They get a call, and basically they are babysitting a party boat. The engine died, and they were like, well, we're not mechanics. We can give y'all a tow and get y'all into, a dock. The guy who I guess was hosting the party pulled him aside and was like, look, bro, we got a whole lot more partying to do. Like, it would be a shame for us to have to go in just because, the engine went out. And he was like, but y'all are in the docking zone, like the shipping zone. We can't let y'all just sit in the middle of the water. Y'all in the way. And he was like, all right, well, can y'all just pull us over to the side? So we end up seeing them basically babysitting them while they, are docked to the side until they get done partying. And I'm sure in that moment, McNulty is thinking, this is what the fuck my life has come to, So then we see pastrami sandwich. Yes, he's still going to be pastrami sandwich this season. That is what I've decided. I know some of y'all don't like my name for him. Oh well. But he's talking to his father-in-law and telling his father-in-law, look, I figured out this is what I want to do. Like, I know that I wasn't the best cop before, but after working this drug case and really seeing what I'm good at, I want to stay in narcotics, or if you could put me in like forfeits and seizures, because, we saw how that worked out. We saw how all that connected too. His father-in-law was like, look, let me explain something. What you gonna do? He said, you about to go take the sergeant's exam and you gonna pass it. Doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna pass it. I'm gonna put you in a quiet precinct over by me where you have a day shift. You're gonna go home every day. You're not gonna see no whole lot of action. You're gonna wait it out. Then you're gonna take the lieutenant's exam where you're gonna pass it again. And then and before he could finish giving him his life, Presbeluski said, yeah, that's not what I want to do. Father-in-law looked at him like, look, bro, I can appreciate that you enjoyed yourself and you had fun hanging out with them. Yeah, I know what he wanted to say, but that ain't what he said. But now you back over here with us, and you're going to do what I tell you to do. Then we see, and all the while he is hovering and admiring this stained glass window of a cop shaking a little girl's hand or something, handing something to a little girl, whatever. But it's like a memorial to cops and firefighters. That becomes important later. But just know that he was acting like he made the damn window himself, okay? He really wasn't halfway listening to Presbeluski any damn way. Then we see Bodie and his new sidekick. I don't know where your boy is. I don't know, because I don't remember enough of this to find out if he comes back or if he just didn't come back for season 2. I don't know. But he ain't there. And they are actually on their way up to Philadelphia they're making a run. Now here's the sad part. Bodie's ass, they're driving, and Bodie was like, yo, the radio station is not coming in good. And the dude driving was like, yeah, we losing the station. He was like, what you mean we losing the station? He was like, we're on our way to Philadelphia. Like, we're not going to keep the Baltimore station all the way to Philadelphia. He was like, what? He was like, so Philadelphia got different radio stations than Baltimore? Dude was like, please tell me you're joking. Because how do you not know that the radio station ends in Baltimore? Like, it's a Baltimore station. He was like, listen, I ain't never left Baltimore other than that time I was down in Boys Village for a day. And listen, I don't know these things. And it just, like, the sad thing is that there are so many kids where that is their reality. Like, they have never left their neighborhood, much less their city. And they really don't know these things. But anyway, I ain't going to go down that road. So they end up getting to Philly, and they pick up a rental car. They got to write down the mileage, and then they got to head to their next spot. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just go on and knock this out. Well, not all of it, but part of it. I'm going to go ahead and knock this part of it out. So they're actually being followed. And where they were going, they were on their way to like a little chop shop where they were going to pick up the drugs. And I don't know if at that point, once they got because the drugs were supposed to be in the car. So I don't know if at that point, once they picked up the drugs, they would leave the car there. They would return the car to where they found it. I don't know. But neither here nor there, there wasn't no drugs in that car. And when I say they tore that car up, they tore that car up. And Bodie knew. Because the guys, the mechanics were like, yo, just call your man and tell him that the drugs weren't here. Bodie was like, say what now? Call who and tell who what? Bodie know that that's pretty much a bullet in the back of the head. And he was like, well, I mean, the drugs weren't here. He was like, and he's going to believe that because you said so? Like, you think that that's just how this works? So Bodie is nervous, and next thing you know, all four of them are on the road heading back down to Baltimore. Because when they called, the boss, who I know who the boss is, they called the boss, and the boss was like, yeah, all four of y'all come on down because something happened to our product. And I don't trust none of y'all right now. So all y'all asses get back to Baltimore, and we'll figure it out when y'all get here. Now down to the dock, Bunk rolls up on McNulty, and he was like, yo, the Gantt case is coming up. We got to prep, our witnesses and stuff. And I got my girl, the old lady in the projects. But where is your boy, Omar? And, of course, McNulty at this point, McNulty could care less about Gantt, about Barksdale, or none of that. Like, he don't even give a fuck no more. And so he could care less. He was like, I don't know, whatever. Wherever Omar is where Omar is. It is what it is. So Bunk was like, okay, so listen. I'm going to need you to act like you give a damn because we still got to make this case. Like, Bird's trial starts. And so I guess, what's his name? The other dude that they ended up getting, I guess he wasn't able to convince them that he committed that murder because Bird is still going on trial, child. So then we get to what a lot of this season is about. We are down on the docks. And we see a couple of the union heads arguing over, territory and property and what they're going to be in charge of, what they're not going to be in charge of. Basically, right now, life on the docks is hard. There's not enough work to go around for everybody. There's actually more workers than there are jobs. And we're going to see how the union plays into this. We're going to see some corruption and all of that good stuff. So we see the union heads going at it. And then we see Frank, who is going to be the main union guy that we're going to be dealing with. He's the president of that local union on the dock. He actually ends up going down, talking to his nephew, Nikki. And he tells Nikki, listen, you ain't getting no work today, but I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go down and talk to the Greek. Now, the Greek, we're going to find out who he is in a few minutes. But the Greek, he was like, I need you to go talk to the Greek. Then he ends up going down to put out a fire. Not a literal fire, but there's a freight missing, and the guy who lost the freight is like could care less, doesn't care, acting like it ain't a big deal. Frank goes through this big song and dance talking about something, you fired, and he was like, yeah, all right then. And the guy was like, so he act like he just got fired, and he act like he could care less. And the dude was like, he ain't get fired. That is his son. Like, he not. And that is Ziggy. And child, Ziggy is a character, okay? Ziggy is the epitome of a bum. Like, I know no matter what I do, I'm going to have a job. I know my dad going to take care of me, so I really don't care. And I'm going to throw my middle finger up to all of y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? So then we see Bunk. I want to make sure. I feel like I missed something. Well, if I missed it, I'll double back on it. But I feel like I missed something. So then we see Bunk has gone down to property to try to, pull the property for the Gant case because he's trying to get it ready. He runs into Daniels. And Bunk was like, damn, like I heard that they had like push you here, but damn. So Daniels is now over property, which is in the basement. Like y'all seen movies where the property is down in the basement. And so of course Daniels is like, all right, this whatever. He was like, yeah, tell Bird I said what's up. Because y'all remember that Daniels beat Bird's ass, right? But Daniels is like, it is what it is. Like I knew it was coming. Like, I swung for the fences. I struck out. I'm down here. I'm still collecting the check. It's whatever. Like, we know he wants to move up in the ranks, but, he got to take his hits. It is what it is. Then we come to find out the guy comes back and he was like, yo, the property is gone. Like, the evidence is gone. Bunk was like, what you mean the evidence is gone? Like, my case is coming up in a week. Like, I need that evidence. And he was like, listen, it ain't down here. So next thing you know, we see Daniels and the property clerk tearing up that damn property room looking for the evidence. Because, of course, Daniels is like, I'll be damned if Bird about to walk on the technicality because we can't find the damn evidence. And they are tearing up the damn, they're tearing that office up. I mean, that room up. He gonna talk about something. This mean I get overtime, right? I said, you know what? Poor Daniels, because y'all know how Daniels don't roll like that. But anyway, but don't feel too sorry for Daniels, okay? Don't feel too sorry for Daniels. So then we see, Bodie and them actually get back to Baltimore, and they are at the funeral home. Remember, at the end of last season, that's where they set up. That's where Barksdale and Stringer Bell set up shop, was at the funeral home. And so he's got all of them separated. He got Bodie in one room. He got the other guy in a different room, and he got the two dudes that were at the chop shop in a different room. And I didn't see where they physically assaulted them, but definitely were intimidating them, trying to get their story, trying to figure out what was up. The story doesn't shake. Nothing shakes from the story. All of them stick to their story. All of them, like, nothing is different. So then he go to Bodie. He was like, did you write down the mileage? Because he asked the other guy, well, how long was Bodie? Because Bodie had to actually go into a parking garage to get the car. And he was like, well, how long was Bodie in the garage? And he was like 3 minutes. Like, he really did not have time to steal nothing. He didn't have time to do nothing. He was in there for literally, he went in, he came back out. And so then he goes to talk to Bodie. Stringer Bell goes to talk to Bodie, and he was like, so let me see the mileage. Why Stringer gonna say, bruh, your mileage is off by 7/10 of a mile? Bodie was like, what? 7? What? He said, I promise you, I did exactly what y'all asked me to do. Like, I didn't do nothing. I didn't detour. I didn't do nothing. So then we see Stringer go over and he talks to the guys that were following them. So come to find out, those guys were working for Stringer Bell. They were following them. I guess they didn't want to have another repeat of what happened to D from last season. Make sure he had a tail and all that good stuff. And they confirmed that they didn't veer off of nothing. Come to find out, that extra 7/10 of a mile was because they had to take some sort of detour because of the road was closed or something. And Stringer was like, you sure that didn't come in because you had to take that detour? And Bodie was like, what? Okay, yeah. And he was like, so how your foot feel? Bodie was like, my foot? He was like, yeah, from the way you kicked, you kicked that door when y'all couldn't find the product. He was like, y'all had us follow? And I think at that moment, Bodie breathed for the first time in probably an hour, which of course I'm exaggerating, but and it wasn't until then that Stringer Bell realized that, okay, the product was never in the car. Like, my people didn't do it. Like, I am thoroughly convinced that it wasn't my people. And so they end up realizing that they got to go back to their source. They're connecting New York, a dude by the name of Roberto. So we'll get back to that. So then we see Frank going to visit the priest. Frank gone to the church to visit the priest. He ends up giving the priest a donation, a little bit of change. And what we find out is that Frank has donated a stained glass window. He ordered it all the way from Germany. And it is like a tribute to the dock workers, right? Again, we're going, And he talks to the priest, and he was like, listen, I need a favor. And, the priest was like, whatever I can do, He said, I need some FaceTime with the senator. Like, we are hurting. Like, we're hurting down on the docks, and I really need something he needs. It's a certain dock that he needs access to so he can get more work for his people. I'm sure some, it's the tunnel this and the dock that and the bridge this, whatever. But he needs to talk to the senator and let the senator know what it is that they need. He was like, I need some FaceTime. Come to find out, the senator goes to the same church that they go to, but he needed to know what mass the senator went to. And he was like, oh, well, she comes to the 11 o'clock mass that's in all Polish because they're of Polish descent. We need to, that are all Polish, and we need to, like, talk to her. And he was like, I would have done that for you without giving me more money, but I mean, of course I'm gonna take it. He said, and then he gonna look at him talking about so when was the last time you were in confession, Frank? Frank was like, yeah, I did. Cause I'm like, that money ain't coming from the docks. The man just got finished telling you how hard life was on the docks. Yet and still, he just donated this stained glass window all the way from Germany, and he just put some more money in your pocket. Yeah, that money funny. So then we see Kima. Kima is back at work, thank God. But she is on the desk, and she said, this is where I am, this is where I'm going to stay. And she's actually doing the affidavits for the forfeitures. That daggone Herc comes through there, and Herc is talking about how dumb the white boys are. He said, those white boys are dumb. She was like, what are you talking about? He said, man, when you go out there to make a bust, he said, they just ask you, do you want the drugs? He was like, they don't talking no code. They don't have no, the same person that pick up the drugs, put the drugs in your hand. He was like, it's like taking candy from a baby down there. He said, it's not even, like, I ain't even working hard. He said, I really have an appreciation for the blacks. Kima was like, really? So then he said, come on, Kima. He was like, why don't you bust down some doors with us? Like, we know you miss it. She was like, nope, I made a promise. I'm riding this desk and I am good to go. And he was like, if you were a man, your boys would take you out for a drink and tell you. She was like, tell me what? That you are whipped. Like, you are pussy whipped. And so she was like, whatever. But we do see her go home later on in the episode. We see her go home, and she actually does complain about being on the desk. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not happy. But we knew she wouldn't be happy. But of course, she's doing what she feels like she needs to do to keep her relationship. And we see that they are actually trying to have a baby. Which of course that ain't cheap. That's a whole nother process right there. So then we see Bunk and McNulty, and of course Bunk is trying to get McNulty to give a damn, and McNulty just does not. He just is over it. He really just does not care. But they doing their normal. They out drinking, honey. They doing their normal thing. So then, we see Stringer Bell end up going to visit Barksdale in jail, right? And, of course, Barksdale is like, listen, I can do this in my sleep. Like, it is what it is. But he tells them about what happened with the car and with the product not being in the car or whatever. And he was like, but we didn't already pay for that product. He was like, you can't let this slide. You need to go. You're going to have to go down to New York or go up to New York yourself and handle this in person because they got our money and we don't have no product. And that's a problem. Like, they know that I'm locked up. They playing games. Like, they thinking that we slipping and they playing games. So, so Stringer Bell he goes up to New York, puts on his good little suit, honey. He goes up to New York, and he doesn't get a chance to meet with Roberto. Exactly, he meets with Roberto's lawyer. And basically, the short story is Roberto is now having some legal issues of his own. The DEA is looking at their operation, and he kind of blames Barksdale for it and says, I wasn't having no problems till I started doing business with you. And in light of the fact that the Barksdale organization just got totally blown apart and Barksdale is in jail, we just feel like we probably need to lay low a little while. And Stringer Bell was like, yeah, but you have my money. You have my money. And he was like, yeah, well, it's my understanding that the money is on its way back to you. And Stringer was like, he said, I feel like you blaming us for all of this. Like, I feel like you blaming us for the fact that the police are now looking a little bit harder at y'all. And he said, well, in light of the fact that Barksdale got such a light sentence, we can't help but think that, some people may have had some loose lips. And, Stringer Bell was like, we gave y'all the transcripts from the trial. Like, we explained to y'all what happened and why people got the sentences that they got. Like, we don't have no issues down here. And so, like, y'all gonna need to either give us some product or give us some money, or it's gonna be a problem. So we got that going on down there. Then we see, like, we have this whole scene at the bar with all the guys, getting drunk and having, that camaraderie. And I'm sure it was just to show us, black and white, these guys were working together. They were all in the union together, and it's that camaraderie of the docks or whatever. So the next day we see Nikki, Nikki and Ziggy, they done passed out. They have drunk. Nikki hasn't been getting a lot of work, but he's got that meeting with the Greek. Ziggy ends up taking him to the meeting because, Nikki's car ain't working. And he was like, Ziggy, just shut up. Don't say nothing. Like, he really don't want to take Ziggy, but he kind of doesn't have a choice. So they end up going down there. And basically the Greek is their connect with when stuff falls off the truck. Nikki is the one that makes it fall. And they hook it up. And, he tells them what crate he needs off the dock. And then they take the crate and they play with the paperwork so that it doesn't look like that particular crate ever came through. And they're really like those big ass, I don't mean like a little crate. I mean them big old, but they play with the paperwork so it doesn't look like it ever came through. So they basically set it up and all that good stuff. And, Ziggy ends up getting embarrassed because Ziggy goes in there and he plays too much. Like, they're in there to take care of business. And Nikki told him, shut the hell up before he even went in there. He told him to shut the hell up. But of course, he ain't listen. And so he kind of got in his little feelings because he told him to shut up in front of them. But yeah, so that was that. Then we had, we have a floater. So the next morning, McNulty minding his business, and what it is a dead body floating in the water. And McNulty, he thinks they should take the body out the water. The guy was like, no, we take the body out the water, the body's gonna fall apart. So he's learning certain, like, it becomes important that he's down there actually learning stuff down on the docks, They end up one of the guy from his old unit actually catches the case, and they just assume it's a jumper. Like, it was close to the bridge. It was a woman. She was dead. She hadn't been in the water long, and so they just assumed that she committed suicide, that it was a jumper. But McNulty actually goes down there to he claimed he's looking for bunk, but I really think he was following up on this particular case. And his old lieutenant is riding him hard. His old lieutenant is telling him, laughing about the fact that he's on the docks. He was like, yo, I ain't know they were that. He was like, well, you the one that got me down there. You told them where I didn't want to go, knowing that's where they were going to take me. He was like, listen, I ain't know they was that mad at you. I thought they was asking me where you didn't want to go, because that's where you didn't want to go. And I was like, So, but come to find out, they don't even have the floater anymore, because the body was on the other side of the bridge. Like, on one side of the bridge is Baltimore City, the other side of the bridge is Baltimore County. And so it actually landed on the side of the bridge that was Baltimore County. So he gave the body to the county. And then he told McNulty, see, McNulty, it's all about, playing the game. He was like, that's what you never, he said, that's the one thing you never learned. McNulty was like, okay, I got something for you. This asshole sat up and wrote up a whole report proving that the body really went into the water on the Baltimore City side of the bridge and floated to the Baltimore County side of the bridge. Like, he used weather reports and drift records and wind analysis and all kinds of shit. And he ended up faxing it over to the lieutenant on the Baltimore County side. So, of course, he kicked that body right on back to Baltimore City. And when they read the report and they saw McNulty's name on the report, it wasn't nothing they could do but just, they were like, okay, he got us on this one. Like, he's still an asshole. But on this one, he got us. He got us. And he actually realized, and he actually told them, listen, that woman had defense wounds on her hands. She didn't have on a coat. She didn't have on no shoes. He was like, now, she may very well have been a jumper, but there are some things that I need to look a little bit deeper into. The fact that, it's the middle of winter, she didn't have on a coat, no shoes, probably means that she didn't necessarily drive herself to the bridge. When you find no car, like, it was just, so again, McNulty being the asshole that he is, child, because he is an asshole. Now, we have this moment with Bodie down at the tower. He is now the man down at the towers. He is running the towers. And there's stuff going on with the product. But once again, Bodie did learn something from D. And he realizes that, you know what, I can't just, because their first reaction was, we're going to go whoop his ass. And he was like, you can't, that just can't be your first reaction all the time. Like, we got to look into some other stuff. And I realized that that's the first reaction. Now, I'm almost done, y'all. Y'all know these wire reviews are long, child. I'm almost done. Now, Pastrami Sandwich's father-in-law, he goes down to the church, the same church. And he tells the pastor, he was like, I've got the perfect window to go. They were renovating a certain part of the church. And he was like, I've got the perfect window to go in that area. And of course, he has that stained glass. He's like, a man down at Glen Burnie made it. And of course, the priest was like, father was like, you want that window to go where? And he has to let them know, listen, the steel workers, like the dock workers already put a window here. They already paid for it. They already made the donation. And he was like, well, what was their donation? I'll pay you. I'll match whatever they pay. I'll beat whatever they pay. And he was like, just tell me what it is. He was like, I can't tell you what the donation was. And I mean, the difference in the windows were day and night. Like, it was so, and he was so pissed off. He was so in his feelings. He was like, how in the world did they come up with that kind of money? Like, it's no way they came up with that kind of money. And I was like, well, they came up with that kind of money, child. So, but that's, keep your eye on that. He ain't happy about it, honey. That ain't the end of, that's not the end of it. We're gonna see some more of that. So then we meet the patrol officer who will become very important this season. I don't remember her name. I'm sure I'll have it by the next episode. Who actually patrols the docks, right? And, she just rides through with her little headphones on. And her and Frank have like a little rapport. And she kind of jokes with Frank. She's like, so what are you guys down here stealing today? And Frank plays back with her. He was like, oh, well, we got a couple of well, then he would have said flat screen. Got a couple of TVs and a couple of couches and this, and this, and this, and that. And she was like, She was like, yeah, I figured as much, But that's like their little joke or whatever. And she drives off. And his little sidekick, his little right-hand man was like, you let her talk to you like that? Like, I don't find that shit funny that she think we thieves, even though y'all are thieves. So, at that point, Nikki shows up with the information about which crate, again, barge, whatever the dag was, because it's bigger than a crate. I don't want y'all to think like this. It is huge, you know what I mean? One of those big old things that comes off the ships. And he told him which one it was that the Greek needed, And so, right-hand man goes to pull the crate. He pulls the crate, and the guy from the Greek that's supposed to be picking the crate up, he's just sitting there. Like, he's acting like he's waiting on some word from somewhere. He's waiting to find out what to do with this crate. And, his boy tells Frank, like, yo, we need to get that crate. Like, we pulled the crate. It's sitting there waiting for him. We need to get it. Either we need to put it on the damn truck or we need to get it out of here because the customs seal is broken and we're exposed. Like, if somebody comes along and they see that we got something sitting there that the customs seal is broken on, like, that's going to be our ass. So, like, we need to figure it out. So Frank ends up calling the Greek and tells the Greek, yo, what is your boy doing? Like, he's just standing there looking stupid. Like, why hasn't he picked up the thing? Like, we got to do something. Either he need to take it off our hands or he got to go. So next thing you know, they were calling him Boris. Boris ends up getting a phone call. And next thing you know, he gets in the truck and he drives off. So Frank was like, where the fuck are you going? What is going on? So the sidekick asked him, well, what do you want us to do with the crate? Like, it's sitting here. He said, go hide it. Go hide it up in it. And when you see the docks, you see it's just these crates all over the place. They're just all over the place. So he was like, just hide it. Because now at this point, he doesn't know what's going on with the Greek. But they've already broke the customs seal. So it's actually going to be on their ass if, somebody sees it just sitting out there. So next thing you know, Miss Patrol Lady is driving around, doing her job, driving around the docks, and she happens to notice the crate that they were supposed to hide is sitting there with a broken customs seal. So she had actually passed it, stopped the car, put it in reverse, went back and was like, what's going on with this? She opens up the crate and It's got computers on the front end, but there's a hole. So you could tell it's not solid computers going all the way back. So she actually climbs into the crate, walks to the back, and finds that there's like a hidden compartment back there. When she opens up the hidden compartment, she sees bodies. So of course she calls the police, calls for reinforcements or whatever. Next thing you know, the police, the fire department, everybody is rolling up, and the guys on the docks go in and tell Frank, yo, we got a problem. Like, the police are out there. Something's going on. Frank, so of course, all the guys go running out there to go to the police to see what's going on, what the situation is. And next thing you know, they go in there to investigate for themselves. They open up that crate, and it was probably like maybe 10, 12 women just dead. And they had bruises and everything else, but they were dead. And of course, she comes out, honey. She can't. She comes out. She damn near thrown up on herself and everything else. And when the police come out, they tell Frank and them what happened. Frank was like, "They're dead." And at this point, what you don't know is whether Frank knew. Like, Frank knew that was the crate they were supposed to steal. But what you did know is whether Frank knew it was women in the crate, or that he didn't know that they had dead women in that crate. So that is where the episode is. Listen, that's 30 minutes. Whatever I missed, I'll pick up on the next episode, because I think that was pretty much 99.99999 of this episode. So this is season 2, y'all. We kicking it off. Let me know what y'all think. Drop in the comments. Peace.